You want to smell sweet in the heat? Stay tuned and you'll find out how. How's it going, YouTube? I hope you're all doing well. My name's Grant. Welcome to 2 + 2 = Fragrance. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, comment and subscribe to the channel if you've not already, and turn on your notifications so you'll be made aware of any future content. You can also follow me over on Instagram at 2 + 2 = Fragrance. I'd just like to take a quick moment as well to say thank you to everyone who does subscribe to this channel and who does follow me over on Instagram, because I've recently gone over 250 subscribers on YouTube and I'm approaching, I think, about 700 followers on Instagram. So thank you very much to every single one of you. I really do appreciate it. So, how to smell sweet in the heat. Basically what I mean by this is sweet fragrances that are going to work well in hot weather. If you're anything like me, all my favourite, well, not all my favourite fragrances, but a lot of my favourite fragrances are your sweet fragrances, your more oriental, sweet and spicy kind of fragrances, ones that you're going to wear in cooler weather generally. So when it gets to this time of year, when it's coming into the spring and summer, I do crave these heavier, sweet, spicy fragrances. So it is nice when you can find some fresh fragrances that have also got a good dose of sweetness. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at today. I've got 5 fragrances that are fresh enough to wear in the summer, but they've also got a good dose of sweetness in there. So here we go. Now all these fragrances are going to work in the hotter weather, but obviously just be careful how much you're spraying. You're not going to need to spray as much in the heat as you would in the cooler weather. And first up, we're going to take a look at this one. Yves Saint Laurent Eau de Parfum. This is a fantastic fragrance. The sweetness in here is coming from the tonka bean. You get a real good blast of tonka bean from start to finish in this one. It is quite sweet, but that tonka bean is balanced out nicely with the apple and the sage, which are the 2 most prominent fresh notes in here. The apple and the sage are there from start to finish, although the apple towards the dry down does become more of just a fruity accord. It's harder to pick it out as an apple note, but it still stays fruity. And the sage really helps with that freshness as well. It gives it another dimension, makes it a little bit different to other fragrances, that sage note. But yeah, this is a fantastic one to use in the heat. Highly recommend it. That's Yves Saint Laurent Eau de Parfum. Next up, let's take a look at this one. Prada Rosa Sport. Now again, you've got tonka bean present in this one. You've also got vanilla, so 2 very sweet notes. I wouldn't say it's as sweet as Eau de Parfum, even though it's got vanilla as well as the tonka bean, but it is still quite sweet. Now, balancing out that vanilla and tonka bean, you've got lavender, which runs through this fragrance from start to finish with that vanilla and tonka bean. And that lavender really helps this one to be able to be okay to wear in the heat. I think if that lavender wasn't there, then the vanilla and the tonka bean could become a bit overwhelming. It's not a super powerhouse of a fragrance, but again, without that lavender, I think the vanilla and the tonka bean could be a bit too much. But because it's there, and it's there for the life of the fragrance, you can wear this one in the heat no problem. So that one was Prada Rosa Sport. Next up, let's take a look at this one. Paco Rabanne Invictus Legend. Now this is the sweetest one on the list. This has got the sweetness coming from an amber note, but although it's not listed, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of tonka bean in this fragrance as well. But that amber and tonka bean, if there is tonka bean present, which I think there is balanced out really nice with grapefruit and sea salt. The grapefruit, again like the apple in Eau de Parfum, is pretty much there from start to finish, but it turns into more of like a tropical fruit note. It doesn't smell like grapefruit all the way through, but you've got kind of this tropical fruit smell going on all the way through, and you've got that sea salt added in as well, so it gives it a nice summery feel, although it is very, very sweet. But it's another great one to use in the hot weather. Be very careful how much you spray with this one though, because this is the sweetest on the list and it's also the strongest on the list, but it's still a good one to use in the heat. Paco Rabanne Invictus Legend. Now it's never too long before this next fragrance finds its way onto one of my videos, of course. Chanel Allure Homme Sporto Extreme. I've had it on the channel a lot. I've not had it on for a while though. but it had to be on this video. When you're talking about sweet fragrances that work in the heat, it just had to be on this video. Tonka bean's the note in this one that's going to give you the sweetness. Good dose of sweetness, but not too much. You've got a mandarin orange and a mint that balance it out really nice. The mint is gone by the dry down. That's not there for the life of the fragrance. But I pick up that fruitiness from the mandarin orange all the way through this fragrance. And when it dries down, it's not a super sweet fragrance, but you do have a nice little dose of sweetness in there, mixing with the mandarin orange from that tonka bean. Fantastic one to wear in the heat. Absolutely love this fragrance, as you all know. Chanel Allure Homme Sporto Extreme. And last but certainly not least, we'll take a look at this one. Armani Code Colonia. Now this is an underrated fragrance in my opinion. There are people that speak about it, but I don't think a lot of people really hype this one up. I love this fragrance. I think it's absolutely fantastic. The sweetness in this one's coming from the tonka bean. The freshness comes from the mandarin orange and the bergamot in the opening. They don't last, to be fair. They're gone within about 10 minutes. The opening of this fragrance is sensational. One of my favourite openings. Unfortunately, them fruity notes disappear after about 10 minutes. I'm not sure what keeps the freshness in this fragrance, because when it dries down to that tonka bean base with a little bit of amberwood in there, I don't know whether it's to do with the orange blossom that's in here, but somehow this fragrance remains fresh, even though it's mainly an amberwood tonka bean dry down. I don't know if it's the way they use the tonka bean. It's a strange one, this one. I've always thought it's strange how it stays so fresh when it's quite sweet in the dry down, but it does, and it works absolutely fine in the heat. Fantastic fragrance, this one. Armani Code Colonia. So there were 5 fragrances that'll have you smelling sweet in the heat. What fragrances do you like wearing in the heat that make you smell sweet? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. I love chatting to you guys, and I always reply to your comments. As always, thanks a lot for taking the time out to watch this video. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, keep smelling amazing.